Hi everyone, and welcome back to part 6 of the Jetmads 148 P2V-7 Neptune. So far, this has been a really fun build. Last part, we finished up the whole build, got everything built up, so this part will be the paint and decals. Getting all the paint down. Like I said earlier, I'm just going to prime it, black base it, and then I'm going to do the white and then the light gold gray, and then I'll come in with the detail painting of like around the exhaust areas and such. There won't be much weathering to go to this kit, so I won't be going in with the heavy set oils and all that, just with some exhaust streaks. A lot of the weathering will be done during the painting stage with the pre-shading and all that. So I'm looking forward to it. I got some more parts to get matte or laid out for primer. All the Neptune is prime, or not primed, but masked off and ready to go. I got the landing gear doors, the blocks for the landing gear doors in and tacked in with some Elmer's white glue, so those will stick for the remainder of the paint, and then once paint and everything is done, I'll pop those off so that way I can start attaching the landing gear. But other than that, I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to get the rest of these parts taped down. What I do for this is I have some extra boxes. I tape them down. I put some blue painter's tape down. Then I stick them on there and then prime them, wait for it to dry, flip it, and then prime the other side. So that's how I take care of all the extra small bits that need to be painted separately from the aircraft. So I'm going to get the camera turned around. We're going to get everything ready for primer, get everything primed. I'm going to do the Mr. Surfacer 1500 gray, and then after that's done, I'm going to go back over it with the MRP black. And the only reason why I'm doing that is because it is almost impossible to find the MRP, or not the MRP, but the Mr. Surfacer 1500 black. Hopefully that is back in stock sometime in the near future. I know when it does come back, I am going to be buying a lot of bottles of it. So I'm going to get off of here, get the camera turned around, get everything set up for primer, and then we'll be back once all the primer is done and black base. So I'll see you in a second. Alright, we're back and we are in the paint booth. So we're going to start getting some colors down on the Neptune, but first what I got to do is I got to start pre-shading it and really start adding that modulation to the paint scheme and just make it come alive instead of it being just a flat gray and a white, kind of making it, that's a little bit boring in my opinion. So what I'm going to do here is first with the top side, which all of this along here and along the back is all white. So in order to break that up, I'm going to use a light Arctic gray here, and it's such a light gray that it's almost white. I've used it for the triple ejector racks on my intruder pylons, and those work really well. So after that color's done with the rest of the model, I'm going to come in on the wings and the lower fuselage and the horizontal and vertical stabilizers. I'm going to use the MRP dark gall gray, MRP 100, for the rest of the panel lines, and also adding some modulation, some squiggles in between the panels for some modulation. Then after all that's done, I'll come over with the light gall gray for the rest of the fuselage, which is MRP 098. And then, but first, before I do light gall gray, I'm going to paint the top and the white, the MRP 099 white US Navy, Federal Standard 17875. Then after that, we got the black parts like the anti-glare shield, the antennas, the tips of all the probes, and on the radar dome on the belly. All those have to be painted black, so I'm going to be using the super matte black MRP 171 for that as well. And then I have the the insignia blue for the top tail for the squadron marker, which is back over here. MRP 300 for that. So first I'm gonna do the white or the light Arctic gray on camera with you guys, and then after that I'm gonna go off camera and then I'll show you on the workbench what I get done and how it looks when it's done, because otherwise this video would be 15 hours long. So I'll let's get this MRP paint in the airbrush. The good thing about this MRP paint is that you don't have to mix it. It's just a pour and go paint. So it's a lacquer paint, so make sure your air booth or you're spraying this in a nicely ventilated area, or you wear respiratory protection. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to come in, I'm going to get this turned around so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm not worried about the nose up here because that's going to have the anti-glare shield and it goes all the way down to right here. So we're going to get this turned around, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting the panel lines. It's going to come in very, very thin. Then I'm going to start kind of filling it in randomly inside the box. So I don't want to completely cover the black, but I do want to leave some different splotches in there, and it's really going to show up when I paint the white on here. So just again with the panel lines coming across, and I don't want it to be too checkerboardish when I'm done, so that's why I'm doing the squigglies inside of the boxes to add up, because otherwise it can look like you have a flying checkerboard here. So again, I'm just running across here, building it up a little bit, not too dark though, because I don't want it to be overly aggressive on that. And then just coming in here and filling in random spots, just some squiggles, and it'll show on the paint when I do the top coat on how it separates it and makes it less uniform. And again, just all along these panels. Alright, and then along the rivet lines, I'm just going to come along. Just kind of go at it all crazy. we're just going to repeat it on the opposite side. Alright, so that's it for the using the light Arctic gray for the pre-shading right here. Now what I'm going to do is with the dark gall gray, because I'm going to be using the light gall gray for the main coat. So light gall gray or dark gall gray MRP 100 for the pre-shadowing coat. I'm going to go in and do the same thing with the wings, the vertical stabilizers and horizontal stabilizers, and the underside of the fuselage, and all the Bombay doors and everything else that is going to be light gall gray. Luckily with this kit there's not a lot of white painted on, it's just along the top side of the fuselage. Everything else is light gall gray except for the interior of the Bombay doors and the landing gear doors and the actual landing gear itself. So I'm going to get off of camera here. I'm going to move the camera to my other jig so that way when I'm done getting the pre-shading done of the dark gall gray, I'll show up over on that camera, and then I'll get started. When I do the white, I'm just going to start off with the white and I'm going to paint it all along the spine, and I'm going to go down quite a ways along the fuselage, and then the Mad Boom goes all the way around for the white. Along underneath of this horizontal stabilizer also has some white underneath of it. But I'm going to get off of camera here. I'm going to paint do the pre-shading on the dark gall gray, and then I will show you the progress when that's all done. Alright, so we got the pre-shading done on the Neptune. So far looking pretty good. Just with the mottling up along the side and on the top. There's a slight difference between the Arctic gray and the dark gall gray. Don't think you can really see it on the camera, but you can really see it in person, and it's going to make a huge difference. I didn't want to go too overboard with the area that's going to be white, and again with the areas that's going to be light gall gray as well. But like the top side,
of everything would be getting beat down by the sun and just fading differently over time. So I went in and did the mottling and everything and got that done. So up next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get the white painted on the fuselage and all the the interior of the gear doors, the bomb bay doors, the landing gear, and also on the flaps there's a white and red stripe, so I'm going to get that stripe started with the white as well. So once I get the white done, I'll be back. The one thing about MRP white is that it doesn't really look white until you have it next to another color. So it's not going to really look white until I get the light gall gray on, and then it's really going to pop at that point. But I'm still going to come back. I'm going to show you the white when I get it done, just so you can see a little bit of the difference of how the mottling shows up and affects that paint scheme. So I'll be back in 1 second to show you. Alright, so we got the white done on the fuselage. That's all done. I do have a touch-up area that I'm going to knock out tomorrow real quick along the top of the mad boom. And then after that, I'm going to get it all masked off for the light gall gray. That's going to go all along the wings, the horizontal vertical stabilizers, and along the fuselage and belly. And then all the other parts that are like the flaps and the outside of the landing gear doors and the prop cones and all that. So got a lot to paint with the light gall gray. I'm expecting to take probably a full bottle of the light gall gray for this job right here. And then after that, actually what I'm going to do before I do the light gall gray is I'm going to finish off the red and white stripe that goes right here on the flaps, on all 4 flaps, as you can see in the paint callouts right here. There are no decals for them, so you have to paint them, which I like painting. If I can paint it, I like painting it versus having to do decals. I think it just looks better. One thing that I wish that they would have done for decals are the prop cones right here. This special design on the prop cones that I'm going to have to paint, and that's going to be a nightmare to mask off. So we'll work on getting that done later. Actually, I need to do that again. So I'm going to paint the red for these stripes, and then I'm going to paint the light gall gray, and then I'll come back and I'll paint the that red, because I also need to paint the propeller stripes as well. So it's a little bit back and forth, but it's alright. But I'm gonna get off of here, and then next time I'm gonna get, like I said, the touch-up white on the mad boom. I didn't hit the top of it as well as I wanted to, or I should have. And then get the white masked off for the, or no, yeah, we're basically gonna get the white masked off for the red stripe. And then we're gonna get the white masked off for the fuselage. And then that's going to be a lot of masking to do, getting all along here and then along the tail and all that. So, and then that's going to be, after that's done, we'll start with the getting the matte black done, the super matte black, which is the anti-glare shield, the front of the radar dome on the belly, and then the front of the sensors, like here and back here. And I'll have to look and see if these antennas are black. Some of them are black, some of them are gray, so we'll have to check and see. But other than that, it's looking good, and I'll be back tomorrow because I am done for the day. I'm going to do an inbox review later on the UH-1D from Dragon. And then after that, tomorrow, I'll be doing more work. So I'll see you in a little bit. Alright, so we're back, and we got the main 2 colors of the Neptune done. We got the light gall gray and the white done using MRP paints. And they are looking good. It is going down great, everything. The masking for the light gall gray was not as bad as what I thought it was going to be. But now comes the fun masking part of masking off the super matte black for the anti-glare shield, these 3 antennas, and then the front end of the sensor probes up here, and then the front of the giant radar dish on the belly of the aircraft, along with a few other antennas on the bottom. So I'm going to pick this up real quick and you'll get a little side profile of it real quick. And it's super big. I got it zoomed all the way out. Looks like I have a little bit of an area on the radar dome to do a touch up on. I can't tell if that's touch up or just a shadow. It might just be a shadow. But so yeah, it's looking really good so far. Again, this kit from Jetmads is so far a really fun build. Not having too many issues with it. The detail on it is absolutely amazing, superb, and just going together great. And it's a super fun build. It's one of those builds that it requires a little bit of modeling, but not too much modeling. If like, would I recommend this for a newcomer? No. Would I for an advanced modeler? Yes, an advanced modeler can have a lot of fun with this. And if you just have some good skills with sanding and fitting parts, it's a really fun build. So I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to get all the black parts masked off, get all that done, and then after that I'm going to do the aluminum for the exhaust panels around here, get all that done, and then we'll do the tail flash, the blue tail flash that goes on for the VP1. And then after that, all I have to do is the rubber black for the tires, and the hatches that go on the windows up here. So all in all, not much more painting to do, and then we start moving on to decals. So I think decals is going to be another part. We'll see how that goes. So like I said, I'm going to get off of here. We'll get all the flat black or the super matte black masked off and ready for paint. So I'll be back in 1 second. Alright, and I'm back, and paint on the Neptune is almost done. I just have a little bit of touch up to do on the tail fin from some overspray, and a little bit right here for some white that I don't know where that came from, but yeah, so just a couple touch ups for overspray, and this is all done. As you can see, the blue overspray spot, I thought I had it taped off enough, but obviously didn't. And then the spot on the white that needs to be touched up as well. But all of that is getting closer to done. I was able, now that everything is, the main airbrushing is done, I was able to remove the rest of the mask, so now we can see the landing gear bays and the bomb bays and all that. Now I need to go in and do the detail painting on the flap wells that I repainted in the light gold gray. But all of that is done and ready to go. So we're getting closer to decaling phase. So hopefully, I'm thinking possibly by the end of the weekend, I might be decaling. The only things I have left to paint on the rest of the kit are the wheels and the escape hatches that go up here, and the detail painting on the landing gear and the red part on the nose cones. And then, like I said, the flap wells are the only thing on the aircraft that I have left to paint besides the airbrush touch-ups. So just almost there, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the touch-ups done, the rest of the painting done, and then I will be back in 1 second with you guys. Painting on this is all done. I used the MRP US Navy White FS 17875 for the white, and then the light gold gray was also from MRP, and then the radome tan for the Mad Boom, and then super matte black for the black parts, the antennas, the anti-glare shield, and the front of the radome, and also the front of the sensor bumps that are along the fuselage. So just get up and move around a little bit. Got all that done. I use the AK Extreme Metals aluminum for the exhaust panels, and then after that was done with the aluminum, I came in with the AK Extreme Metals burnt metal, and then I misted over the aluminum to give that effect right there. So after all that's done, after painting or decaling is done, I will go back in with the oils from Abtalung, and I will add some exhaust streaks. So I'm going to get this thing turned around. I broke off one of the pitot tubes when I was moving this around. Actually, both of them have been broken off because they are so small, but that's okay. I'm not really too worried about it. But so landing gear bay for the nose, and then the bomb bay. Again, just superb detail all around on this kit. The rear landing gear bay on both sides, and then along the fuselage. And the flap wells, I didn't go too crazy on the detail because with the flaps in front, you're not going to be able to really see any of it. So I painted up some of it, but not everything like I had painted in originally. So that's all done with the paint. So also got done with a bunch of the little bits like the propellers. Got done with the propeller. I decided not to do the fancy red design that was on the front of the propeller cone, just because masking that was going to be a nightmare. So I finished that. The nose landing gear is all done. Painted the cabling with the rubber black, and then used the MRP white for the main gear, and then Tamiya chrome silver for the landing gear strut. Flaps were done using the MRP light gall gray, and then the white was the US Navy white, and then the red was insignia red for the red. Masked off and painted like that. And then for the engines, again, light gall gray, and then AK Extreme Metals aluminum, followed by the burnt metals from that. And then for the nose of the jet engine, I use the AK Markers Signal Red. Here's a shot of the tail landing gear, all painted. This part is going to be covered up by the wheel, so I'm not worried about that. So painted that, rubber for the cabling, and then white for the landing gear strut, and then went back with the aluminum for the actual cradle for the landing gear. Tires and wheels were painted using the AK marker rubber black, along with the MRP and US Navy white. And that is everything. Everything else is a duplicate. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get off of here. This will be the end of part 6. Part 7 will be the decaling of this beautiful kit. And then part 8 will be the weathering. So thank you for watching and following along with this part of the build. And don't forget, if you're new to the channel, to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell button so you get notifications of when I post future videos and content. And have a great day, and until next time, stay frosty.